Okay, so today's session I'm targeting third structured essay question. Third one, right? Third structured essay question. So in this question, mainly few areas I need to highlight. Most of the time they ask these things. One is ionization energy, ionization energy, and electronegativity. Electronegativity. So these questions are every paper, every year you can see that. Right? මේක ඉගෙන ගත්ත එකේ පාඩුවක් නැහැ. ඒ නිසා අනිවාර්යෙන් හරියට බලාගන්න electronegativity. Last chance. Ionization and electronegativity, and also Lewis structures. Lewis structures. How to draw Lewis structures. Special Lewis structures something like covalent bonds and bonds. Covalent bonds and ionic bonds we need to discuss, and valence. Valency also I think not clear for most of the guys. Valency අහනවා ගොඩක් වෙලාවට third structured essay එකේ, and also oxides were features no areas ටික and target to discuss here. Okay, we'll move to the session quickly. First, ionization. Ionization ගත්තාම ionization chart එක you are able to draw, right? මේක කොහොමද අදින්නේ? අපි second group එක ගත්තොත් put a tick. හරියට බලාගන්න last time. Another tick, right? So ionization energy chart. මම අදින්නේ මේ second group එක. Second period, right? And put a two ticks, and you need to extend this into left side like this, right? So then tick every tick contains elements like this, right? Like this. Ticks wala, here you can see at the middle also there is an element, right? But in extended one there is no middle one. Ticks wala vitara ar middle portion wala element එකක් තියෙනවා විදියට. Then here what are the second period elements? Lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon. Right, 24 paper also they asked this drop. මේ drop එක ඒගොල්ලෝ highlight කරලා තිබ්බා. Like I think we have done that paper last week. I told you here this is this part, because then if someone says like make ascending order එකකට ලියන්න කිව්වොත්, can someone write nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine? So this is 5th group, 6th group, and this is 7th group. So is this correct? No, it's wrong. So what is the correct order? This is wrong, right? This is wrong. What's the correct one? Oxygen, nitrogen, and fluorine, right? So this is the correct order. Here also like this. That's why this chart is very important. So carefully practice this. Otherwise you will lose marks. Definitely lose marks, because every year they ask this, right? It's permanent thing. MCQ or structured or essay or anywhere. Mostly MCQ or structured, right? So group එක low group නෙවෙයි period එක in a period lowest value එක තියෙන්නේ first group එකේ. Highest තියෙන්නේ ionization energy in 8th group. And what is actually ionization energy? Ionization energy means, simply gatto, if we take sodium atom, I draw like this. This is nucleus, and this is energy levels. So here 2 electrons, 8 electrons, and 1 electron. 2, 8, 1 electronegativity. So if you need to remove this electron, so you need to supply some energy, right? You need to supply some energy. Otherwise, why you need to supply some energy? Because there is a strong attraction. There is a strong attraction between this electron, and the nucleus, right? There is an attraction. So we need to break that attraction, right? Think like that you are attached to some friend and your parents need to take off. The parents need to stop that friendship. So your parents need to give some force, right? Otherwise they can't do that. So like that, electrons are attracted to nucleus because plus minus they attract. So to remove this electron, need to supply some energy. That energy we called as ionization energy. So we can indicate like this. So you can't see here. Sodium. No, you can't see. Sodium, remove one electron and creating sodium plus. To do this process, you need to supply some energy. That energy we called as delta E here. That there's a number. So actually we measure this ionization energy number for 1 mole, right? Because one atom is like very tiny and it's negligible value, so we can't do calculations using one atom. So that's why we consider 1 mole. 1 mole means, what's the number? 6.022 10 to the power 23 time number of atoms වලට තමයි we consider this number 400 value එකක් එනවා kilojoule per mole කියලා for sodium. You don't need to remember numbers, right? පාඩම් කරන්න එපා, no need numbers, just the pattern. You need just a pattern. A level filter, just a pattern විතරයි, right? If you go into the third period, you need to start below this lithium, right? Lithium level like open. Below lithium you need to start sodium, right? Because we know energy levels, when the energy level is increasing, the attraction is decreasing, the attraction between that last electron and the nucleus. So which means like less energy we need to supply for remove that electron. And so lithium is, think like lithium has 600 number, sodium has 400, like, right? Much less value. But here also you can continue the chart like this, 2 ticks and extend it left, and then mark sodium, magnesium, aluminium, kind of, right? So on ionization energy, so take this note, like there's no time for giving you the write this, but here actually there may occur marks වෙන්න පුළුවන්, හරි? marks වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ නිසා just take a note after the session. So if I draw both periods, I will draw the both periods here also. Time is going, but anyway, here 2 ticks and extend, and I will mark like this: lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, and then sodium here, and then put 2 ticks again like this and extend, and here magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, argon. Okay? So those are 2 periods. But rarely they ask, again, we have 2 periods compare, it's rarely they ask, but generally they ask only 1 period. And with this you need to differentiate the other one, electronegativity charge. Electronegativity charge is kind of gradual increase. Like lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. There is no 8 group because we know neon is not forming bonds. Electronegativity means what? the ability of attracting bonded electrons. Then oxygen, HCl take. So these bond electrons, these two electrons attract කරගන්න තියෙන ability එකනේ we called as electronegativity. Just simply ගත්තොත් these two electrons එන්න මේ bond එකේ තියෙන two electrons, hydrogen and chlorine both trying to attract, but chlorine has higher electronegativity than hydrogen, so these electrons move to chlorine side, right? Just slightly more, 100% more, slightly more. So that ability we called as electronegativity. So neon is not forming bonds, so there is no electronegativity value. So in Pauling scale, they are not giving value for neon. So 7th group is highest electronegativity. Whole chart එකේ whole periodic table එකේ highest electronegativity තියෙන කාටද? Fluorine වලට. Fluorine has the highest electronegativity. So keep in mind, it's very important. I think 24 paper, I can't remember whether it's past paper or model paper, there's a question, right? Fluorine. So this is gradual increase, no drops. Then මෙතන ගත්තොත් මෙතන තියෙන්නේ nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, there's no issue. But in here, oxygen, nitrogen, fluorine. Okay? That's the change. That's questioned in third question of O-level paper. That's the first time I think they question this drop, like because in A-levels they repetitively ask that thing, but in O-levels now they are trying. So හරියටම බලාගෙන යන්න, right? මේ session එක බලන්න මේ ලොකු advantage එකක් වෙයි. Okay, then so that's ionization energy I need to explain. Then Lewis structures quickly. I think I taught you this 2-3 times before. I think then that in question discussions will be discussed, but anyway still fail. So because of that I teach you again. So if you need to draw Lewis structure for HCl, first thing is you need to find what the group number. Hydrogen in first group, chlorine in 7th group. And how many electrons need hydrogen need to complete the outer shell? Hydrogen need 1 electron because he's achieving 2. Helium state එක achieve කරන්න try කරන්න. So need 1 electron. Chlorine need 1 electron to achieve argon state. Helium, neon, argon. Chlorine needs 1 electron to complete the outer shell. So covalent bond create. So covalent bond means sharing electrons, right? There are two types of bonds, ionic bonds and covalent bonds. Ionic bonds will completely removing electrons, right? Completely removing, and another one is taking that electron. Normally remove karanne which one? The metals, right? Metals are removing electrons. I told you guys, first two groups other than hydrogen, first two group elements involved in forming ionic bonds. It's an easy method, like lithium, beryllium, and sodium, magnesium, potassium, calcium, ionic bonds. If those elements are there, those are ionic bonds, right? So don't misunderstand and don't do other things, because third question again, those kind of questions they ask whether this is ionic or covalent. So first two groups now definitely it's ionic other than hydrogen. Hydrogen is absolutely not in first group, but it's actually in a current one, updated periodic table, hydrogen not in first group, right? But other than that, first two groups now, so covalent bonds here, hydrogen and chlorine, no metal is there, so it's covalent bond. So covalent bonds are sharing, like hydrogen need 1, chlorine need 1. So they are sharing their electron. Chlorine share his 1 electron with hydrogen. Hydrogen share his 1 electron with chlorine. So they both have advantages, kind of symbiotic relationship, like. So here, giving one electron, so hydrogen has one electron, you need to share that. Chlorine has one electron, not one, actually 7 electrons. Sharing one electron is hydrogen and forming the bond. So we can draw dot cross structures like this, and also when you replace this with a line called as Lewis structure. Lewis structure, simply that, right? So few examples I quickly do. HCl is 1 and H2O. First thing is write like this and write their group numbers, 1 here 6 and here 1, right? So hydrogen need 1 electron, oxygen need 2 electrons, 1 electron, right? So I mark this 1 electron like this. Oxygen 2 electrons need, so 2 electrons need to share. 2 electrons need to share. So, then 2 hydrogens are expecting electrons, so equally you need to share like this. And in last energy level, 6 electrons there. So you need to mark other 4 like this. So we call these pairs, what are these pairs? Call these pairs as lone pairs. Lone pairs. Right? Lone pairs. So remaining electrons, then we're gonna 4 remaining. So remaining 4 we mark as lone pairs. So here is one bond, there is another bond. Right? So it's like this. This is the Lewis structure of H2O. I think it's clear. And if you have any questions at the end of the session, you can ask. Okay, then NH3. NH3, how to draw? Nitrogen, hydrogen, hydrogen, hydrogen. So hydrogen need 1 electron, first group 1 electron. Nitrogen fifth group need 3 electrons. This hydrogen also 1. This hydrogen also 1. 1 electron need. Right? So but nitrogen needs to create 3 bonds because 3 needed. 3 bonds need to create. So I mark dots like this. Actually, when you practice this, you no need to put dots quickly, one line example, but dot cross have what initially. Just look at whether they ask dot cross or only dots structure of the always structure, because all 3 types given in your textbook. So just check whether what they ask clearly. Otherwise, in A-level papers also, sometimes we are going for drawing Lewis structures, but they ask dot cross. So wrong. I think like you need to follow the guidelines. So that's why I'm doing these sessions also. Like in theories, sometimes I'm not highlighting these points because that time we are not in this mood. Now this tempo is feeling, right. You also feel, I also feel that this intensity now that some extra things are coming. Like that's why I think always when you have time, just join with all these online sessions and at least watch the recordings, because some hidden points come out in this period, right? Because theory points already sometimes miss them. Here 1, 1, 1, and here finally 2 remaining, right? 2 we mark as lone pair. So finally like this, so we can draw like this: 2, 1 lone pair and 3 hydrogen, right? Like that. So that's for NH3, and the other common one is for carbon dioxide. At last I will draw line. That also carbon dioxide, like this. Here carbon in 4th group, here 6th group, need 2, need 4, need 2. Right? Here 2 means like 2 need to share. Carbon need to share 4. Algen 4 share කරගන්න because need 4. So ඒතර lone pairs මොකුත් නැහැ. හැබැයි oxygen ට lone pairs 2 lone pairs remain. This oxygen also saved it. Right? So like that, carbon dioxide. Practice this and watch this again if you are not clear. So I think this is definitely counts, right? After you lose marks because structured and no option and MCQs. Okay, then the other thing is like other thing I need to emphasize you oxides. Oxides wala like third group mainly sodium, magnesium, third period aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine. This is very commonly asked. When you write these oxides of this, you need valencies, right? Then sodium oxide, Na oxygen. Sodium means first group, right? So first group means valence is 1. Oxygen in sixth group. Sixth group means valency either 6 or 2. Right? ඔය දෙකම වෙන්න පුළුවන්. කොහොමද? complete කරන්න ඕනේ electron ගන්න. නැත්නම් remove කරන්න ඕනේ electron ගන්න. count කරන්න. නැත්නම් share කරන්න ගන්න. මේ තුනෙන් යන්නේ either sharing, either removing or either gaining electrons. So මෙතන ඇත්තටම common valence number එක 2. So oxygen 2. So then we exchange these numbers. We can get Na2O. Right? Then magnesium with oxygen, magnesium 2, second group, oxygen 2. So then Mg2O2. Mg2O2 cut off and MgO. So MgO. Right? Then aluminium, Al and oxygen. Al third group, oxygen second group. Exchange the numbers Al2O3. Al2O3. Likewise, you can write silicon also, silicon SiO, silicon 4, 2, then Si2O4. Simplify this SiO2. And phosphorus have some options like you can have P2O3 කියලා compound එකක් තියෙනවා, P2O5 තියෙනවා. කියන්නේ phosphorus වල 3 කියලා valence ගන්න පුළුවන්. 3 වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. 5 වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. So there are 2, but your book says P2O5. Just take P2O5 because they recommend that. And sulfur වලත් එහෙමයි multiple numbers 2, 4, 6. There are multiple valency numbers. So but common එක SO2, sulfur dioxide, SO3 also you can take. Chlorine වල numbers දෙකක් තියෙනවා 7 and 1 chlorine වල. So but book says Cl2O7. They recommend that. And 7 value making Cl2O7. So those are the things. So you need to remember how to get valency number and exchange that and how to final outcome. Then thing is you need to remember every paper asks Al2O3 is amphoteric. Right? I have both acidic and but basic features. But මෙතනින් උඩට basic okay on just highly basic like weak basic like those things are not essential, right? Better if you can remember like when you go for 95 above 90 like A plus just study that. But I need the basic stuff here, so you need to get A pass. So here these are acidic, right? Acidic. So then SO2, Cl2, 7 level is a highly acidic. Here weakly acidic SiO2, P2O5. So these oxides mix with water. අන්න ඒකත් highlight කරන්නම when දැන් හිතන්න මේක එවෙන් තමයි අතරම acid and bases form වෙන්නේ. Na2O3 H2O එක form වෙනවා NaOH. Right? You can balance current to put here. And here SO3 mixed with water forming H2SO4. Right? This is acid, this is base, and this is right? So those are the summary of today's session. So remember, and also me that you are not you guys are not studying, but you will feel the difficulty in exam if you are not studying before. Right? Carbonate, CO3 2 minus polyatomic ions. At least now you study CO3 2 minus, SO4 2 minus. These are essential. Carbonates, calcium carbonate, sulfuric acid, SO4 2 minus, potassium permanganate, because these are used in your general compounds. And calcium carbonate product used in syllabus H2SO4, here KMNO for oxygen production melted, then PO4 3 minus, again H3PO4 phosphoric acid decader, right? And NH4 plus, like these common polyatomic ions, at least you need to remember. And OH minus, sodium hydroxide, and OH minus, remember. So at least these common things you need to remember. So very important, right? Okay. So we'll finish the session now, theory session, and you can ask your questions, put in the chat or ask directly. So this is chemistry third question. I will show some past papers also now. You can see how they ask, and you can practice those past papers also. Main session actually you can practice third question, all the third question practice, or just check marking schemes also, much better. You can get a lot of impact. Okay.